What up? What up? Long time no see. How the hell are you?
Man, I'm good. How you been?
I am better. Much better. So, I've been MIA for a while. Sorry about all the I've missed a lot. I had COVID, as you know.
Yeah.
I had that shit. I've had the flu. I've had bad head colds and sinus headaches, et cetera, but I have never had anything like that COVID. And I know it hits everybody different, but that killed me. So I had COVID and then I got over it, but then my wife got COVID. So there was about a almost 2 week stretch there, week and a half, 2 weeks that I didn't trade much at all. Finally got back into it last Friday, this week. So this is the first video we've done in like, I don't know, forever.
I know, man. It was like I was sick and then you were sick. Neither one of us could just get well.
Oh man. So it's good to be back. Sorry for the delay, everybody. We're gonna do some trade recap because it's been a minute and we've had some good trades this week, but today we had some really nice trades. Anyway, let's just get into this shit.
Hit it.
Freaking COVID, man, blew me up. It was brutal.
I know, man. I know.
Absolutely brutal.
I guess it was worse on you. I've had it like twice now for sure.
So my wife, she's had it twice too, and this was her third time, and it didn't hit her that bad, but this was my first. Holy shit.
Yeah, man. I know some people it's like really bad on.
It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Hey, I feel for anyone that gets it.
Yeah, man. It was bad. But we're back. I'm back. Back to normal. And I don't want to go into too much detail about it, but we might have some cool stuff coming up here in the near future. Maybe some
changes.
Yep, some changes. I might be doing, however it works out, might be doing some live pre-market prep, maybe some live trading, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
We'll we'll figure that out because I finally got all my shit figured out with my screens. Can do cool stuff. But anyway, I guess we need to break down some trades because that's what we're here to do. We're going to talk about a couple trades each, and yeah, let's get into that. So I know I've said this before, but it is a behind the scenes thing to play that thing so we can pull up our trades and, get prepared. Secrets. So I'm going to go over Lunar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man.
I'm going to go over Lunar first. And
the other day, whenever that one ran so hard, like it all these that run like this, I used to hit a lot more. I used to hit a lot more like midday shorts, which I did today, but it wasn't on like a, like a hot chick type name like that.
Yeah, and typically, if I'm taking a midday short, it's usually at a specific level, but
it's got to be like a sick one now for me because I've just gotten burned on it a lot. Like, you remember that used to be like my shit. I'd be hitting those midday shorts like all the time, like big moves on the hot chick up into a level. Like I feel like last year that was my thing. This year, I feel like I get burned on them a lot.
Market shifted quite a bit, I think, this year. It's been a wild few months.
Yeah, I don't know. It's getting more like it. I don't want to say like it used to be, but
after today, who knows what's going to happen? Today was wild.
Yeah, it was, man. It was.
We'll get into that too. There was some macro level events today that we'll get into that too because that was crazy.
Yeah, you'll have to break down the news on that one for me.
Yeah. So this is Lunar. I'll go over this one first. I longed it, which is my best and first long in quite a while. I longed Lunar the last time it had that crazy run for like a point, so kind of irrelevant. But this long was a little bit, this long was a little bit better. Anyway, so the whole thesis for this trade, this thing's been beat down. I don't have a, I do have a 15-day chart that I'm going to show here in a minute, but this thing is beat down. And it started to run it down some volume. So this was a very discretionary long because I remember the last time it ran. So this was just a discretionary long. And I covered what I thought was the top, to be honest with you, because the volume started to fade after this run. And I'm like, all right, let me just got a couple points out of it. Longing's not my thing. Let me get out. Literally 5 minutes later, it does flush pretty hard. I'm like, wow, I caught the top of that long. But obviously, it consolidated and continued to go higher. And
what is that line?
VWAP. Thing hit VWAP and consolidated and boom, hit back up again. And this is what it did last time it ran. It would touch VWAP and it would just bounce and it kept just riding higher all day long. But the last run was ridiculous. But
oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so this one up here I got short though. This was a nice little fake breakout move. I was shorting it. I didn't get a great fill. I was trying to short it when it failed to break 20. It actually failed to even get to 20, but 20 was a pretty big level. It's a nice whole dollar. 20 is a psychological level because it's 20, right? That's just a big number. Plus it was a nice level on the daily chart. So that was my whole thesis for getting short here. And of course, it chopped around a little bit, and then I ended up covering. When it went. I mean, this was a nice play. It ended up going lower, but when it broke down below VWAP, I went ahead and covered all out. I mean, that's a solid 3 points. I think it was like 12 or 13%. But I was happy with this trade because I longed it first, was patient for the short, waited for my level because sometimes I have a hard time waiting for my level. Waited for my level. And it freaking worked out. So this is the first trade. I can't remember in how long I've hit a long and then a short. It's been, I'm not good at longs. I suck at longs. I know this. You know this. So I was pretty.
This was a sweet trade. This was like ideal, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, this for me is about as good as a long I've ever done in a long time, and then the flip short. So I was happy with it. But I want to show something else just to add to my thesis, I guess, for Lunar, if you will. So this is a 15-day chart on Lunar, and you can see how high it went on that last run. Unreal. But anyway, I just wanted to show a couple things here that added to my, you can see my mouse pointer, right?
Oh yeah, I see it.
Okay. So I know this isn't super clear, but I'm big with volume. You know that. I think a lot of people know that now. I love the volume profile, and I'm looking for like confluence, right? I'm always looking for volume profile levels, nice daily levels, whole numbers, all the things that kind of line up. And if you look at this yellow line right there, basically at 20, you can see it respects 20 pretty damn well. Like it bounced off it here, failed to break above it here, bounced off it here a couple times, bounced off it here, even back on its big run. Like it has respected 20 numerous times across this daily chart here. And not only that, but you have, we talked about it in the morning, the volume profile, it really stopped being heavy once it got above 20. So that was kind of another key level for me. Like once, I don't know if I said this to you today in Discord or not, because I know we talk about a lot of shit, but basically, I said, if this thing breaks above 20, 21, it could run. I was like, 20 is going to be 20's it. Like if it would have got above 20, my stop out on this would have been really about this yellow line, a little bit higher. But if it would have broke above this, the volume profile gets real thin. It could have went up another 2-3 points on air really easy. But my thesis for this was 20. I mean, Nice whole dollar. Respected it numerous times across this 15-day chart. Volume profile, that's where it stayed heavy up into that point. So confluence, man. We're all about the confluence, and it's had quite a bit. So nice little long. Did better on the short side than I did long side. Go figure. But I'm happy with it. This is, like I said, one of the first trades I've had in a long time where I hit long, flip short. So,
dude, that was a killer trade, man. Like, I mean, just looking at it right there, that's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I can't ask for nothing better than that right there. So anyway,
that's ideal. It looks really
that's good. Lunar. Lunar is one of the I don't get this treatment too often. It's usually reserved for you,
man.
But this was a good one.
That was a killer trade. It really was.
That one like made my soul sing right there.
Oh yeah, man, that was sick. I mean, it looked crazy, you know.
So now let's get into my second one here. And this one. Oh, shit. All right. SIVB. I'm sure a lot of people heard about this today. Complete meltdown. This thing dropped. It's still dropping. Well, now after hours is closed. But this thing in one day dropped like, I think including after hours, it's down like 200 points. Like, dude, this chart doesn't do it justice.
I know. It's so insane, like, just looking at it.
Yeah, so I'm going to zoom in here a little bit.
I had to take it off the screen, like, because I was getting FOMO on it. Because
yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And same, like, I had it on my side monitor, and I kept it on watch. And I didn't trade it all day, right? I kept watching it melt down, and I like you, was getting FOMO. But this type of trade, this type of ticker with this big of a market cap is not something, it's not really in my wheelhouse per se. So I pretty much avoided it. The only reason I took this short here, and I know I told you this earlier, and I don't have a 5-year chart pulled up because they're kind of hard to see anyway, but 127 was a 5-year low on this ticker. And, tickers like this are held by the big dogs. Retail's not trading this the way that the institutions are. This is a major large cap company worth billions of dollars. So my thesis was, if this thing breaks a 5-year low, it is going to create what I assumed would be some massive panic. Even for some of the big guys, like, they're going to have to just get out, because a lot of these institutional banks and holders and funds, I mean, they may have bought this stock 6-7 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever, long-term holds. But if it breaks a 5-year low, they're going to panic. And that was my thesis on it, I guess I should say. So my first short was basically that. It was that fail of 127, and that's where I got short.
Not to mention, like, think about how many people are probably going to try to long it there, and then when they see that it doesn't hold, it's,
yep.
Because I mean, I was looking at it and I was like, oh yeah, but I mean, just I'm not good with the way these move. I hadn't been trading large caps much lately.
Yeah, they're very different, and like I said, for me, it's just not something in my wheelhouse. But this was a good opportunity, and my thesis was simple: it breaks a 5-year low, I'm going to short. And, I basically had a stop in. Literally, it was a break and hold above 127. That was my stop, because that was the key level. So fortunately, it never broke above 127 and held. I don't even think it broke it. And then it kind of broke down. And because it wasn't in my wheelhouse, I covered. And this doesn't look like much, but I think my average here was about 124. I covered at about 121. So 3 points. Even if you have 100 shares, that's $300. 200 shares, $600, whatever. There's a lot of potential in something like this. It just doesn't look like much because of the drastic move on the day. But anyway, I'm continuing to watch it, and I see the volume picking up, but I see it's continuing to go down. So I'm like, damn, this is panic selling. So obviously I regretted covering, and I see the panic selling continue. So I actually I got back in. I don't want to say I FOMO'd back in, but essentially that's what I did. Just because I saw the mass volume coming in, but usually we see volume come in on small caps, we're seeing it go up. But when this volume was coming in on a large cap and continue to go down, I was like, I'm gonna take a shot again. So I did, and this was a huge move. Again, it doesn't look like much, but I got shorted about 117 and covered at about 106. So all of about 4 minutes, I got about 12 points out of that.
Yeah, that's sick, dude. That is
ridiculous. Ridiculous. I mean, this is
unreal. It's like unheard of.
It is unheard of. So this doesn't look like a lot, but this was a huge move points wise in a matter of 1, 2, 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
Man, and I was looking at it, and something in me was like wanting to long it, and I'm thinking,
well, it's a good thing you didn't, because it's continued. You just, whew.
Actually, I know. I mean, if I would have longed it like where you covered that, because I think it bounced back to like 125 or 124, that would have been a sick long. But the thing is if it was a small cap doing that and it did it like really hard, near the open or something, like I might would have I mean, if you would have longed that right where that last cover was, that would have been a huge move,
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny you said it, because here I have a bigger picture chart. But yeah, literally where I covered that short, that's where it bounced. And this was a huge bounce. It bounced almost 20 points.
I know, man. And like people that don't
it's insane.
Understand or whatever, like they only look at small caps. Like large caps don't usually like capitulate like this.
This is a once in a lifetime type of. So we were talking about this before. I have never seen, since I've been actively trading these last 5 years, whatever, especially because all I really do is trade small caps, but I've never seen a large cap die like this. And I don't think I've ever personally seen a large cap stock halt. This thing halted down twice today that I'm aware of. And actually it halted down, I think both times.
Where you've got your mouse at after your cover, it halted up right there. It actually halted up twice.
That's right.
I was watching it.
Yeah, so it halted down some, halted up some. I mean, this was a wild move for a large cap stock. Absolutely unheard of. It blows my mind that this even happened. Blows my mind that I was a part of it in a small piece, because as you can see, it obviously went lower. And I think now it's trading in the 80s or 70s. I mean, it hit
$76 in after hours.
I mean, this thing is down 200 points on a day. I'm still blown away by it.
I know. I feel like a dumbass for not trading it, but it's like I just didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? And I was
I get it. I get it, because I almost didn't trade it myself. The only reason I got short here was because of that 5-year low. The only reason I re-shorted again was because I seen this volume coming in after my cover, but the volume was coming in as it was going down, and I was like, this is a true panic. I really thought it was gonna go like to 80 right here. I mean, I thought this thing was just gonna absolutely tank. I covered when it started to kind of curl back up. But
man, imagine if it would have. That would have been sick.
Man, I mean, I'd probably be done trading for the month. But anyway, this was a crazy opportunity. Not something that I can imagine will hopefully we never see anything like this again in the near future, because that would kind of not be good. This was one of the top 20 banks in the world, if I am thinking correctly, top 25 at least. One of the top 25 biggest banks. This is not good, actually, from a macro perspective, because all of the bank stocks, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Chase, etc., they all tanked pretty hard today as a result of this, which in turn tanked the whole markets pretty hard. So
yeah, they did.
This created quite a windfall, excuse me, for the whole market. Not good from a macro level perspective. Hopefully we don't see more of this. Unreal opportunity, obviously, especially from the short side, but it's not something I want to continue to see because that would be bad. But anyway, those are my two trades. I know
what was the reason for that?
So from what I read, I guess they lost a ton, like billions upon billions of dollars in some bonds. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know everything. I know this bank was a big player in Silicon Valley for startups, for tech companies, and it has been for years. And it's not good, obviously, for that region and for that sector. I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow to see Facebook or other tech things maybe take a hit as a result of some of this. But anyway, I guess they lost a ton of money in bonds, and they actually had, I can tell you because I got it on my phone. I took a picture of it because this just blew my mind. Basically, an offering or a private cash placement because they were losing so much money.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah. Like billions of dollars. I don't have it anyway. It's gone. Anyway,
that's funny.
Yeah, now there's I'm trying to find where I had that thing saved, but now since the market's closed, it's cleared. But anyway, I'll try to find it while you're doing your thing. I'm gonna let you go over your trades, do your thing, 'cause you have some good ones too. I'm gonna try to find this dollar amount on this placement they had.
All right. Well, I'll share mine. I mean, they're not great from today. I've been trying to trade less, because I usually trade a shitload, and I mean I overtrade a lot. But
it's sometimes it's tough not to because this market, I will say, especially in the last couple of months, has provided some pretty unreal opportunities. So it really makes you get that FOMO bug, man, and then you want to trade them.
You want to hit buttons. I know.
Yep.
Well, all right. So this is kind of a dumb trade, like shorting this where I did.
So for the record, and I know you're going to go over it, but I traded this too. I am still in it from about 11. I took another short at the end of the day, but as of right now, I'm slightly red on it. This was a tough freaking ticker.
Yeah, man, and like I took a pretty solid hit right here on this stop out. Why did I hit it short here? It's like I almost knew it was going to reclaim, and my plan was to try to short it about where I'm stopping out at, like a pop to there. But when I saw how hard it started dying at open, I was like, it's on SS. Wasn't it on SSR?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, because I was having a limit into this. So I got some here, and I'm up decent right here. And but just with how hard and how fast it died, and like I was talking to you, it opened it right at 100%, did it not?
I think it did. Yeah, literally almost on the money.
Yeah, and I was like, man, it's 100% gainer in the morning, opening at 100%. That's like the magic number,
Yep.
And so I was thinking, I can't miss this. Well, I short it, and then I add and get full size here. And then I get a full size stop out right here. I set a stop for a new high of day. And of course, of course. And so then
this still blows my mind. I don't mean to cut you off, but just looking at this chart, the amount of freaking fails and flushes and reclaims and fail and reclaim. I mean, this thing was wild.
Yes, it was. And I kind of picked up on that early on when me and you were talking about it. And you were like, it's about to do an FU candle. I was like, which way? Because right when you were saying that, so I went ahead, I hit it short again here, and I covered half here. And you were saying that, and I was like, man, I started longing it.
That's a good long, because we do this all the time. We'll sit there and say, oh, here it comes. It's curling. It's about to do the FU move. And we'll sit there and say it. You usually can long those type of things. I usually will sit there and be like, oh, it's about to rip, but I'll never push the long button.
Man, and I'm trying to long less, even though I longed a lot today, just because.
That's a solid little move you got right there, Long. I mean, that's shit
Yeah, and
from 8
it
to
looks
9
like
and a
it looks like I'm like smashing it a bunch, but really I wasn't sure where I wanted to get out, so I'm just like hitting buttons, like hitting the hotkey to get out.
Yeah.
And I had a little trend line drawn from this point right here, and then connected it to there, kind of like our buddy Phil does.
Our adoptive father.
Yeah.
On his island.
Yeah, man. Like, shout out to Phil. Whenever he wants to let me come live on his island, I'm ready.
That dude smashes futures on the daily.
Yeah, he's been teaching me, as you know.
Yeah.
But like, that's for another day.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
So like, I saw it right here when it made this little move, and I mean, obviously, it's like a V-shaped move now. But I was like, oh, I was thinking, why didn't I re-short it there? I already had the locates and stuff. I think I paid like 4 cents or something like that because I got them. I got them pretty early. But so yeah, I longed it here, and then I set a limit order, and I mean, obviously it went a lot higher, but it worked out pretty good.
Yeah, that's still a solid long and solid cover because I shouldn't say cover, but where you sold the last bit of your long, like I would have anticipated another fake breakout, another where you sold it. I would have thought it would have hammered back down again like it had 2-3 other times that day. So good exit in my opinion.
Thank you. And honestly, man, I was wanting to. I was thinking if this does like a fake, I was thinking it might have like a big wick right here. And I was gonna short into that. But that was originally my plan. But when it didn't, I was like, okay. And then it slammed. It flushed hard, and then it held this trend line from that point right there to here to here. I was like, oh man, I've got to try this long again. I guess like
that's a good long.
Put a tight stop, and it started grinding, and then just of course rip.
Yep. This was a tough one. This was tough both ways, long or short. This was just a tough stock.
Hell yeah, it was.
One thing we haven't even said yet.
Oh, I already know what you're gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, the IO percent on this was like 99%, which means we don't even know what the float is. The float on this thing could have been less than 100K. Like the true float minus the IO could have been 100K.
Man, I mean, they can make this do whatever they want. They can make it dance, however.
Yeah, so this was a dangerous. Somebody reached out to me today asking about it. He's newer into shorting, and I was like, honestly, with you being newer into shorting, I wouldn't even touch this thing. Like, wouldn't even touch it. I don't like messing with high IO, but I messed around with it, kept my wrists tight on it, and I'm actually short now. I'm short overnight, and we'll see. I'm gonna wake up at 3 a.m. because I don't trust it. But I'm short from a little. But I actually almost caught the top at 11, but that was with plenty of paper cuts on the way up. So
hey, I mean, whatever, dude. I was noticing, that guy, the short bag holder.
Yeah,
he was saying, he was talking about like when he sees a lot of other profitable short sellers on Twitter and stuff, like taking L's on stuff.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Like, yeah, I mean, and like, I don't know, that makes sense to me too.
Yeah, because a lot of good traders took a loss on this today, but this was tough. Realistically, my rule for me is 3 strikes, I'm out. And I took 2 losses in my third. I think I took 1 decent sized loss. One was like basically break even. But anyway, 3 strikes, I'm out. But my third attempt on this thing was that last one right going into close. And I had a stop in at 11:25, or would have covered after hours at 11:25. So I'm kind of lucky that my third attempt was at the end of the day.
Dude, does it make you nervous as hell to hold stuff like that overnight?
To be honest, I'm not as nervous about this one because it had a pretty big flush after hours. It kind of grinded back up, but then it's ultimately closed weak considering. I'm still a little nervous because the float, the IO, who knows what their agenda is. I am more nervous about UNCY.
Yeah.
So
yeah, me too.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. I don't swing trades often. I am swinging more today than I have in a long time. I don't normally like to swing because I like my sleep. And if I do swing something, it's usually something that is faded all day, closed week, or, gives me some confidence that it's not going to gap up. The stuff that I am swinging today, I'm going to wake up at 3:00. Just say that.
Yeah, I am too. Full disclosure, I'm swinging UNCY too, and I don't swing. So
Well, I'm in UNCY. I'll just say it. I'm in UNCY. I'm in OCEA, and then I am in I don't know the ticker off the top of my head. It's like that BLPH. That one we were talking about all day today too.
oh god, yeah, that one, dude. That
But
one's
that one's close. That one is closing week from my entry, so that one I feel good about. Tomorrow
man. I
might
think
be
I
a first
lost
red day.
like in 2021 or 22, dude. I think I took like some monster losses on BLPH. Like when
Like he brought me a present.
Oh, hey, look, yep. I was just thinking, I need to join in on that.
She's the best.
Yeah, I don't. My wife's somewhere around here. But
anyway, this was a tough ticker.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'm glad I kind of figured out what they were doing, sort of. I mean, I already knew. It's like I knew this was going to happen. So why did
To be honest, I would say to anybody out there listening, if you avoided this ticker, brava, because this was a B.
Yeah, it was, man. It really was. Like that. They're so hard to avoid because they look so good, though.
Yeah, the FOMO bug. But anyway, that's a tough one.
JJ would be, he'd be
JJ. Uncle JJ put on Twitter today that he red flagged that thing at like 7 a.m. So good on him.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I was thinking when I took it, I was like, oh man, he'd be giving me hell about taking this.
He'd kick our ass if he knew, which he knows now. So we'll get yelled at later.
Oh yeah, man. I don't know. I'll tell anybody. I took it.
Yeah, I took it too. I'll show my chart when I'm done. I'll show mine tomorrow because, like I said, I'm swinging it. So I'll post my swing outcome tomorrow. Pray for me. Fingers crossed. Whatever you do,
Hey, dude, I almost took it in pre-market on that little wick. Man, they almost got my. Remember when I was texting you and I was like,
"Yep, I remember."
Like, all right, I'm getting in right here, and it didn't fill. I don't remember what I was trying to fill at, but I was like, all right, like I was thinking
you were
like
a short.
Yeah, I was trying to short like a fake breakout over that little wick area.
Well, the universe helped you out right there.
Yeah, it didn't fill, and then I was like, okay. I remember I was like, all right, I just took some, which I was gonna take like 500 shares, or 400 shares, something like that, and then I didn't, or it didn't fill, and then I was like, okay, well, because I was like, well, I guess I'm because you were like long or short.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, I probably don't need to be in this, and anyway, then it didn't fill, and like right when I took my order off, it gapped up even further. So I was like, thank God. It rarely works when I take one in pre-market, but anyway,
you got your AMAM too, right?
Yeah, here's a good one.
I like this one a lot because I think you played this like I played what was it? Lunar. Like you traded it well both ways, about as good as you could. I mean, as good as you could.
Man, and I got the idea from you, honestly, because I wasn't even thinking about it. And so like we were talking and you were saying, oh, hey man, I was about to do that same shit it did yesterday. And right when you said that, I was like, oh man, I hit some long. And then I hit it long again. Or like I hit it full size, and I put a stop like right at low of day. And it hit low of day, and then right after that, it like immediately wicked up, and I was like, okay, got back in full size long, and right here, I took off almost all of it, and I was like, oh god, I almost took some off here, and I was thinking about yesterday's VWAP and how this thing acted, and
It is very erratic. This thing bounces like a rubber band.
but like it was just such low volume, you know. And
It was. Yep.
I was thinking, I was like, it's thin, but it's been doing this for days, and it's not getting a bunch of volume. And I was like, if this thing makes it over VWAP, well, I still had some shares long, but I was like, I'm gonna short it, and I'm gonna risk basically like somebody was asking me on Twitter, like, what would I risk? And I was probably going to risk like 20 cents on this, like a good red to green move, you know?
I was going to say, I like where you got short because I think that provides a really good risk level of red to green, or even if you sized accordingly, you could do red to green, plus a new high of day, which was only 10 more cents. You know what I mean? So like, I think where you got short, you had a nice built-in risk level, which I always
Yeah.
love those type of trades.
Yeah, man. Like, and honestly, they're just, it's kind of like, people say low hanging fruit. Like, this was a good one, which, I mean,
I agree, because this has been, dude, this thing has been running for like a good week.
Oh, I
But I
know.
think
It's
it's
been on
finally got,
everybody's radar for a while.
yeah, and I think you caught it on a nice day when the volume wasn't there and people kind of forgot about it and it just quietly faded. I mean, this was a solid short.
Man, and I appreciate it. This is probably one of my best plays in a while, honestly. Like, it was good, and I got, a pretty decent amount of size on it.
Well, I'll just say for me personally, and I think you would agree with this, it feels really damn good when you catch something long and then you flip short.
Oh, dude, I know, man. Like, I used to be able to do that a lot, but it's been a while since I've been hitting them, good, long and short. Which, I mean, OCEA, I was shorting in the morning and like just really not. I mean, I didn't make shit going short on it, so but AMAM though, it was good. And
Yeah, this was nice.
there was a lot of people that they thought I was trying to short it there at like the lows, and like they were saying, oh, good job cutting it there at the low. But I'm thinking, no, like I was trying to long it there with the action yesterday. But the reason why there's a red arrow in there, why there's a stop, is because, and I've told you this, on my longs on small caps now, like when I'm trading large caps, I trade squares sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll let it go against me a little bit on like a long or a short because of how large caps are. And like me and Charles, we talk about it. Like, you can't just stop out like super tight on a large cap like that. I mean, you can if that's your style, but that's not my style.
Right.
But on a small cap, man, I'm not letting one go against me, especially long. I mean, short, I'll let it go further against me short than I will long, because they can just, I mean, this thing could have, I mean, they could have offered or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you 100%. Like if I'm ever longing something in small cap land, which I don't long often, but and I think part of the reason I'm so bad at it is what you just said. I'm afraid to get long into something, and they, how many times have we seen those rug pulls or a midday offering, and these things just fall 40% in a matter of seconds. Like,
I mean, I've been long on one before.
Yeah, so like
even guys like Jack Kellogg have been long on one before.
Yep. And I always think about JJ saying like, I can't long trash. And I'm like,
I do too. I think about him
man.
saying that every day, man.
Yep. And I'm just not comfortable longing small caps. Lunar, I took a long on it, but I mean, it is a small cap technically, but that thing, a little bit different. But even so, like, there's infinite potential on the long side. If you can get good on the long side in small caps, you have infinite potential. It's tough though.
I mean, you have infinite potential in small caps on both sides, but it's just, and I try to tell myself this because I just have this tendency to, like, when a short's not working, to long.
Yeah.
And like a lot of times it does work for me, but I'm tracking it and it works for me, but it might be something that I cut out eventually. Because I had somebody asking me the other day about just trading in general and like my process and whatnot. And I was telling them that I have like a semi discretionary, semi systematic way of short selling small caps, but like I'll also go long 100% discretionarily. And they were like, well, why? And I couldn't even tell them why. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, and you and I talked about this the other day, and I don't want to go off on a tangent because I know we're trying to keep this not super long, but there's been a lot of chatter on the Twitter FinTwit space lately about systems and data, and I respect data. I respect systems, and if you're a systematic trader, you got to have data. I love data. I do data tracking. You've seen my Excel spreadsheets. I track a shit ton of data.
Oh yeah, hey, I use them now.
But with that being said, I think data and systems has become somewhat of a buzzword on Twitter. I guess what I'm trying to get at is some of the best traders I know, and I've read a lot of books, the market masters. I got all of them back there. The unknown, or not market masters, I'm sorry, wizards, market wizards, unknown market wizards, new market wizards, etc. You read those things, and me personally, and other psychology books I've read from some of the, I can't say his name, Steinbargers, and then the guy that wrote the Market Wizards. And anyway, they all say the same thing. Like, the best traders they've seen are just discretionary traders that are good at reading the tape and are identifying levels and, finding those points of confluence. So anyway, I'm not trying to go off on a tangent, but I'm just trying to say, I think if you can become Sang Lucci, who I respect a lot, dude's phenomenal trader. He said himself, he's a discretionary trader. And he said when he gets in the zone, when he is just feeling it and is nailing shit, you won't find a better trader than him. And I firmly believe that. Like, if you are a discretionary trader, you get in that zone, your reads are on point, you're going to make a freaking killing. And it could be in the matter of days, it could be in a matter of months, it could be in a week, it could be in hours. But I don't know. I love data. And if you're a system trader, that's great. I have no problem with any of that. There's 1,000 ways to cut this pie. I guess I'm just trying to say that I think there's a lot of stuff going on FinTwit right now where it's like, oh, if you don't have a data backed system or statistics or whatever, like, you're not a good trader or you can't be a trader. Like, and I get what they're saying, but there is something to be said for discretionary traders who use data to help make decisions, but are identifying tape, right? Tape is all. That's what matters at the end of the day. You can put up 100 indicators, but tape is what pays you. Anyway, like I said, I'm not trying to.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying. That makes sense. And I mean, I agree.
Yeah. So I guess for you to say like, oh, I don't know what creates me to go long. Like, you do know, but it's hard to describe to people what creates your trades on the long side when it is discretionary. Like, it's in the moment. The tape's telling you something, the level 2's telling you something, the supply and demand levels, like
I've seen it so many times,
yeah, it's not, you get a feel for things. And I think that's where experience comes into play. That's where screen time comes into play. And those are things you can't teach. Like, there's a lot of things we could teach, but there's plenty to be taught through just like, there's been a guy that's reached out to me a lot about teaching him how to trade. And I wish I could just share all my knowledge and just drop it all on him. But it's like, so much of what I've learned is just from screen time. And it is what it is. You got to get the screen time. You got to pay the bills. You got to take your lumps. You got to pay market tuition. It's part of it, man. Like, especially for what we do, trading on the discretionary side. And I'm a discretionary trader who uses data to help influence decisions, but I'm not a system trader. I'm just not.
Like you said, and I tried the system thing for a while. It's not for me. I think it's cool. but
it's just not my style, and that's okay.
I don't like the like huge drawdowns and man, I cannot handle
and
that.
some guys are system traders who keep a much tighter risk. And whatever. Again, there's 1,000 ways to cut this pie. You just got to determine what works for you. For me, I know I can't be a system trader. I especially can't be a system trader with large losses. I can't stomach large drawdowns. And I just, I like to be discretionary to a point. But I'm looking for, like we talk about, confluence, supply demand levels, volume levels, all these different things to tell us why we're right and only a few reasons why we could be wrong. And that's what we're looking for. Good risk reward scenarios. That's all we can ask for at the end of the day.
Right.
That's my soapbox moment. Sorry about that.
No, I like it. And I appreciate it. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. I think we get a bad rap sometimes because we don't have my most systematic trade is gap and crap. And my gap and crap is like, gaps up, craps before open, and then at open it hits VWAP and dies, right? And when I'd like to take that at VWAP, I usually will risk more of a set amount, 6-7%, because I'm averaging data and statistics to help me make that decision. And I'm looking for like a 2-1 risk reward. That's one of my most systematic setups. Every gap and goes, gap and extensions, paras, those are more discretionary. We're looking for supply and demand levels. We're looking for confluence. We're looking for a lot of reasons to be right, not to be wrong. Like, anyway,
paras are like my favorite trade, man. Like,
I love a good parabolic, especially if you can find a good parabolic at a halt resume level. Nice daily. Oh, get me salivating over the.
Me too, man. I'll smash those any day.
Yeah, I like I said, sang Lucci a lot. And I'd have to find that video, but he goes on a little tangent about being a discretionary trader. And when you get in that zone, I don't care what type of system you're running, he is going to smash it. So anyway, all right. So I did go off on a tangent. I'm sorry. So we're going to do a couple more things. We're going to do a book recommendation first, and then we're going to do one more thing. But first, we're going to do this. So because we're talking about discretionary trading, which requires a bit more of a psychology tick, I think this is a fitting book that I'm going to recommend. We haven't done one of these in a while, but this here, a lot of people have probably heard of it. Daily Trading Coach, 101 Lessons to Becoming Your Own Trading Psychologist. This is a relatively long book when it comes to trading books. It's 350 pages, give or take. Yeah, 340. However, despite the fact that it's 340 pages, for those of you who don't like to read, this book is broken down into many, many subsections. So it makes it, man. Yeah, it makes it an easier read because there's a lot of, like I said, it's 101 lessons. It's 101 lessons. Each one, you divide 340 by 101, whatever that math is. So these lessons are only 3 to 4 pages each. So you could read a lesson or two a day, like good book, talks about psychology. But I like this book, and I've said this before. Sometimes I think psychology books are overrated because before people find any sort of system or style or whatever, they're trying to find psychology books and, I got to get my mind right. Damn all that. If you can't trade, I don't care what your mind's like, you're not going to make any money. Get your trading right first. Then you work on your psychology. And I'll fight anybody tooth and nail that says otherwise. Like to the death. If I die, I die. It's whatever. But I'm gonna fight that fight. But anyway, I like this psychology book because it's a little more practical, I guess. It has some basics in there. Talks a lot about risk reward. So I think it's a little more practical for a psychology book, and it's a pretty easy read. So that's my book recommendation for the week. Really, book recommendation for the last 2 months because we haven't done one in forever.
I know, man.
Sorry. COVID took me out, man, and then we started doing some other stuff and whatever. But the last thing that I wanted to touch on that we could talk about just real quick, because I know this episode's getting a little long. Sorry, we ain't done one of these in a while, so we had a lot to get off our chest.
Yeah, man, we got to talk,
Yeah, we ain't done this in a while. But anyway, I'm gonna tell people to skip to the end because these last 5 minutes could be critical, right?
There you go.
So we are spitballing and planning, and we're gonna try to maybe do some things here in the near future. I guess I've been thinking about how to word this whole damn time, but basically my thought processes or my goal, because what we do is a pretty limited. A lot of people don't do this. There's a lot of people that trade, right? A lot of people trade, but there's not a lot of people realistically that are short biased in small caps. It's a pretty small niche group of people.
Yeah, we pretty much all know each other, it feels like.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's more people that do it than we know. Obviously, not everybody's on Twitter, right? We know that, but it's like it's a pretty small niche, I guess, and we are just looking to figure out how to get people into this and make it more accessible, break down some basics, because I think it's intimidating and it's somewhat taboo, right? And if you're on Twitter, if you're in FinTwit, whatever, or even YouTube, short selling has such a bad rap. Like, oh, we're evil.
Weeble, yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, it's bad, it's evil, you're killing the stock, whatever. I can assure you, short selling is not killing these companies. What's killing these companies is the fact that they suck.
Yeah, they're terrible companies. That's why
That's what's killing the companies. So, like, anyway, there's huge potential in this realm, and it's somewhat taboo. And basically, we're just trying to figure out how to make it a little bit more accessible for more people, because a lot of people are interested in trading, but you see so many people get into trading and they buy the hype on whatever they're seeing on Twitter or FinTwit or YouTube or these newsletters, and they buy these bullshit companies and take fat losses because they either don't have risk management or they buy the hype, whatever. Anyway, going off on a tangent again, but we're just trying to find ways to make it more accessible for people, and we're going to explore some options.
I mean, just think about, like when you were working, or like I said, when I used to do like travel and construction work and stuff, man, I'd get on jobs and I'd meet people and they'd find out that I was really into trading then, just like I am now. And they'd be like, "Oh man, you trade?" And they'd be like, "Well, man, I bought this this sundial, or I bought I bought whatever," and they're like, I'm down $4,000 on it, but it's gonna come back, right? You think it's gonna come back? And
it's gonna go to the moon.
Yeah, it's gonna go straight to hell is where it's going, buddy. Like that's what I'd be like, man. I'd be like, look, it's like just get out of it now. I don't know what to tell you. And they were like, well, no, I'm gonna hold it, and if it gets back to where I bought it, I'm gonna sell it. And I'm like,
because they heard on YouTube or they saw somewhere such and such, and so and so said that the short interest is high and it's gonna go higher, and bullshit.
Yeah, man. And half the time when I tell people stuff like that, and I tell them I'm mostly a short seller, they'll be like, I mean, like, like I've talked to you about it. They're like, oh, I usually just do shorts too.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about like
time frame.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, that's not what I mean.
Yep. So we're trying to figure out how to make it more accessible. So we may do some live pre-market prep. We may do some live trading. We may do some things in the future, but obviously we'll keep spitballing these things, figure out what we're gonna do. But we're gonna do something. Damn it, we're gonna do it with just the two of us. And yeah, we're gonna do something. I don't know what it is yet, but I may even start doing. I've been on the fence, but I may go live tomorrow morning for some pre-market prep because we've kind of pre-market prep the same, and the way we pre-market prep is we're looking at everything. So we're all about confluence. So we're looking at fundamentals, technicals. So I may do some pre-market prep live here in the near future because I think that if people would prepare appropriately, you could avoid a lot of headaches, avoid a lot of losses, and maybe make some money.
That's right. I like that. I like that.
Anyway, we're going to figure that out, but we will figure that out quickly. We're planning to maybe figure that out this weekend. So anyway, some stuff coming. We'll figure it out. We'll talk about it. We'll keep people posted. But yeah, man, there might be some live stuff popping up here and there. Live pre-market prep. We got a lot of good feedback too about the live trading examples. So we may do more of that too.
Yeah, I like that, man, and I'll have to do one too.
Yeah, and now that I got my monitor widescreen shit figured out and how to record and blah blah blah. Anyway, we're creeping up on an hour, but like I said, it's been a minute since we've done this, and we had a lot to get off our chest.
Yeah, a lot of stuff's changed. We won't get into it, but you know.
Yeah, and I was out of the game for a while. Yeah. But anyway, we're gonna do our own thing. We're not affiliated with anybody anymore. We're gonna do our own thing. We that's it. I don't want to go too deep into it, but we're just gonna do our own thing. And it's gonna be effing cool. Anyway.
There you go.
Oh shit, man. We've run up on an hour. Sorry, it's been a long episode. We'll do this. We'll be better. More episodes, shorter, whatever. We'll get back into it. But anyway, man, it's been fun.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it.
Had to get some catching up done. But anyway, we'll do these more often, shorter, sweeter. And we're gonna do some live shit too. So, we'll post it, share it, etc., etc. But anyway, I think I'm good, man. I got it off my chest. You good?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good now.
All right, man. Peace, big fella.
Peace.
All right.
We'll see y'all later.
Cheers.